Machining projects that are larger than the table on your CNC machine or larger than the available material can often be a problem. Here, for example, we've got a project that's 36 inches long and 24 inches high into a piece of 1.5 inch thick material. Now, if you're running a CNC machine with a smaller bed, maybe a 24 by 24 CNC machine, then it's impossible to machine this sort of project. This tutorial is going to show how we can break the toolpaths into multiple pieces to make it machinable on a smaller table with smaller pieces of material. Let's take a closer look at this project to see how we can use the toolpath tiling options to split the toolpaths into smaller sizes to make them machinable on a smaller CNC table or into smaller panels of material. Here we can see this project is 36 by 24. If we swap to the toolpath tab on the right hand side of the interface, you'll see here that we have all of the different toolpaths associated with the project. You'll notice that we can change the size of this window. So this list, by default, it's quite a small window. We can drag the window down to make it bigger, much easier to select the different toolpath options. If we just reset the toolpath for a moment, so we say reset the preview, there we've got our 36 by 18 panel, sorry, 36 by 24 panel, and we can see that we've got lots of different toolpaths here making up the project, and that they may be too big to cut on our CNC machine. If we want to draw all of the toolpaths, we can click on a toolpath, right mouse click and say show all, so this draws all of the toolpaths in the 3D window for us. Say close the preview menu for a moment. Next we're going to select the tile toolpaths icon, so tile the toolpaths. The tiling form appears. We can say tile the toolpaths. Let's say we're going to machine separate individually machined panels. Let's say we want the panels to be 18 inches by 12 inches. If we say update the panels, we can say that we've got tile number 1, tile number 2, tile number 3 and tile number 4. Now the software's chopped the toolpaths up into multiple sections, but each of the toolpaths is still in the wrong position. We really need all of this toolpath data to be moved to be at the bottom left hand corner on our CNC machine table so that we can fit it on the material. To do that, we say instead of drawing the toolpaths in their original position, we're going to switch this off. The toolpaths are now for each tile, so tile number 1, bottom left hand corner, tile number 2 would be the bottom right hand corner of the sign, but it's been moved to be in the bottom left hand corner of our material or on our machine table. If we say view tile the window, so let's say tile horizontally, you'll see here that we've got double click in the bottom left hand corner, so this is tile number 1, double click in the right hand corner, tile number 2, double click in the top left hand corner, these are the toolpaths for tile number 3, double click in the top right hand corner and they're the toolpaths for tile number 4. We can preview the toolpaths in the location for each separate 18 by 12 panel, and to do that we simply say preview the toolpath, reset the preview. So now we've got a piece of material that represents our panel size. So for example here we're using a panel size that's 18 by 12 inches. Now if we say preview all of the toolpaths, so all of the toolpaths in that panel are being previewed and shown as they would be cut into that 18 by 12 panel. If we now go to panel number 2, preview all of the toolpaths for panel number 2, we see the toolpaths to machine the bottom right hand corner of the sign being displayed in the 18 by 12 piece of material that we have. And the same is true for panels 3 and panels 4. So if we select panel 4, say preview all of the toolpaths again. So only the toolpaths that are appropriate for panel 4, so the top right hand corner are being previewed. With the tiling toolpaths form open, if we now go back and we say save, so save toolpath, you'll notice here that by default, because this form is open and we're tiling the toolpaths, the software knows that the origin for each set of toolpaths needs to be moved, so the bottom left hand corner is at X0, Y0. So all we would do is we'd save each toolpath in turn, and the software is automatically repositioning the toolpath information so we can cut each panel, each smaller 18 by 12 panel, in the bottom left hand corner of our machine table. We can also specify an overlap, so if we wish the toolpaths to cut slightly larger than the panel, if we now say close and reset the preview form, so reset, if we look at the toolpaths associated with this panel, you'll see that it will overcut to the left and also to the top and the bottom. This allows us to over machine the panel slightly, so we could say, okay, we want to overcut by 1/4 of an inch. If we switch the toolpaths on, so right hand mouse button show all, you'll now see if we zoom in, these toolpaths are cutting 1/4 of an inch past the edge of the panel. If we say update panel, sorry, let's go back to tile number 2. There you go. So tiling number 2, this was the bottom right hand corner of the sign. We've said apply an overlap of 1/4 of an inch in X, so it's overcutting to the left by an extra 1/4 of an inch. It's also overcutting above by 1/4 of an inch. This allows us to machine past the 18 by 12 boundary, and then once we've finished machining that panel, we can then run a simple 2D toolpath around the 18 by 12 area, cutting around the outside to give us a very sharp, precise edge, so that the mating faces will all match up and the panels will fit together to give us our finished sign. Let's just hide this. Let's go back. We'll see all of the toolpaths instantly become visible as they are for the full project. If we reset the preview, and that goes back to our full panel. Okay, that concludes the tutorial for the first paneling toolpath paneling exercise. We're going to now move on and look at another toolpath paneling project. This project shows a very interesting textured surface that's quickly been machined using a simple V-carving toolpath strategy. The panel is 36 by 36 inches, so if you've got a very small machine, or you've got a table area that's only say 24 by 24, or you've only got smaller pieces of material, then you wouldn't be able to machine this sort of a panel of this size. So we're going to look at a way in which we can break the toolpath up into multiple sections. To do that, we're going to use the toolpath tiling functionality. So if we swap from the drawing tab on the left to the toolpath tab on the right hand side of the interface, so here we've got the two toolpaths that are going to be used to actually form this very interesting tiled texture. If we just reset the panel for a moment, so reset the texture, reset the preview, see we've got V-carving toolpath number 1 and V-carving toolpath number 2. And because this is 36 by 36, it may be too big to fit on the machine. So we're going to use the toolpath tiling option, so tile toolpaths. The tile toolpaths form appears. We can say tile the toolpaths, and it will tile the visible toolpaths. So here we're going to say, okay, we've got pieces of material at 18 by 18 inches. So 2 pieces 18 by 18. Update the tile. You'll see now that we've split the toolpath that was covering the whole panel into the bottom left hand corner. We could now save this toolpath, or we could look at the other tile. So we could say, let's look at tile number 2. So that's the bottom right hand corner. Tile number 3 is the top left hand corner, and tile number 4. So we've got 4 different sets of toolpaths that are based on our original V-carve Pro toolpaths. If we look if we split the windows so we can see both views simultaneously, here we can see, let's just undraw the vectors for a moment. So I'm going to say, go to the layer tab, undraw, and switch the layer tab off for a moment. You'll see here that we've got toolpath tab, tile number 1. Double click in the right hand corner, tile number 2. Top left hand corner, tile number 3. Top right hand corner, tile number 4. Now, saving the toolpaths for tile number 4 up in the top right hand corner isn't going to be any good in helping us cut this on a smaller machine table. What we need to do is move this toolpath data into the bottom left hand corner. To do that, we simply say draw the toolpaths where the tile is going to be positioned, not in the original position. So switch this off and the toolpath segment gets moved to the bottom left hand corner. And this is the same for all of the toolpath segments. They're all being shifted to be in the bottom left hand corner to make them machinable on a smaller bed size or into a smaller piece of material. Let's just maximize the three-dimensional view for a moment. So I double clicked in the window header. We can preview this, so we can say preview the different toolpaths, preview, reset the preview. This now gives us a tiled preview block that's 18 inches by 18 inches. And if we say preview all toolpaths, this shows us the toolpaths for panel number 1 being carved. You can see there, if we look along the edge, we'd end up with the texture being cut through the material. We'd have this open edge. If we look at tile number 2, so tile number 2, if we preview the toolpath again, so preview all of the toolpaths, now you'll see that we've got the corresponding or the mating edge on the right hand side. So these two edges would fit together to give us the bottom edge of our 36-inch long panel. If you look at tile number 3, and preview all of the toolpaths again, you'll see, so tile number 3 is the top left-hand corner, and tile number 4 is the top right-hand corner. So we should see the texture pattern breaking free on this right-hand edge. So preview toolpaths. And there you go. So we've got the textures would match on the internal face. We can force the toolpath to overcut by, which is what we're doing here. We're saying overcut by 1/4 of an inch. If we preview look at the toolpaths, just reset the preview block for a moment, you'll see there, if we say view straight down the z-axis, for this particular tile, so for tile number 4, the software is overcutting by 1/4 of an inch in X and Y, and you'll see that that's the 1/4 of an inch along each axis. This allows us to ensure that the toolpath overcuts very slightly, and then you can very simply create a 2D profiling toolpath to machine around your 18-inch square piece of material to make sure you get a nice sharp crisp edge where the mating faces are. So again, once we're happy with the tiled information, so we're happy with the size of the tiles and the overcut distance, with each tile selected, so let's say for example tile number 1 selected, you'll see there that it's overcutting to the right hand side by 1/4 of an inch. With the tile selected, we simply say save the toolpaths. You'll notice that the option to only output the toolpaths by moving them to have the origin in the bottom left hand corner is automatically checked. So this moves the geometry for the toolpaths always to be the bottom left hand corner as being to be X0, Y0. So now when we save the toolpaths, and all of the XYZ coordinate information is relative to the bottom left hand corner. So for example, tile number 4, which was up in the top right hand corner, if we draw that in its original position, tile number 4, top right hand corner, when we save this toolpath, it's all been shifted so that the XY origin is in the bottom left hand corner, so it fits onto our machine table and onto the piece of material that we're interested in carving the texture into. That concludes the texturing, the toolpath tiling demonstration and presentation. Thank you.